Jennifer Danielle and welcome to my channel. This is video 2 of my Cruise Week series where I am telling you everything you need to know to help you prepare to book your first solo cruise. So today's video actually comes from a poll that I posted on my Instagram. If you aren't following me, be sure to do so now. You can follow me at TheJanDanielle. I am extremely active on Instagram and usually there every day posting all kinds of stuff in my stories. So I actually allow my followers to decide which of 3 videos would be the next one that I would post, and you guys chose excursions. So today we're talking all about excursions and the process for booking, the different ones that are available to you, as well as which ones you should choose. So let's get into it. First things first, I am on a mission to reach 5,000 subscribers. So if you have not done so, be sure to smack that subscribe button and tell a friend to subscribe. Now let's talk about these excursions, because this is something that I am very excited to talk about that I realize I have never talked about in detail anywhere. So usually when I'm looking at excursions, I categorize them into 4 categories. There are animals, which usually consist of like your dolphins, your horseback riding, sea lions, monkeys, things like that. Also, the next category is going to be adventure. So that's going to be like your zip lines, your waterfalls. They also have water parks that you can do from time to time at different places. So those are going to be your adventure. There's relaxation, which usually consists of like a cabana rental or access to what they call a private beach. And typically those are going to be the ones where you find that food is included or some type of like open bar, open area, time frame there. Maybe the whole time. It could be, after a certain amount of time just for lunch or whatever. But typically there's some type of food included with those relaxations. So that's a good tip to remember. Last but not least, you have your tours. So these are going to be for like your history buffs, where they're going to show you different parts of the island, speak to you about, like the history of the island, give you all kinds of tips. And sometimes they will combine those with the other 3 that I just mentioned. So in talking about like that combination method, the best excursion I have ever done was in Amber Cove, Dominican Republic. If you guys caught my Thanksgiving solo cruise vlogs, you saw that. So that day we actually went to Monkeyland, and if you caught my last video, it was all about safety, and I talked about that I always recommend solo travelers do the excursions that are offered by the cruise line, because you have a employed tour guide that's going to take you to those locations. They are going to bus you over and make sure that you get bussed back, and in the event that excursion runs over, they're going to allow the ship to wait for you because they're in direct communication. So if you missed that, check out that safety video. I will link it here, but stick to this one and then go back and watch that one. But yeah, like I was saying, so that Monkeyland tour was really cool because we were able to, the process actually started where we met in the comedy club on the ship. We got some wristbands and we all walked over to the like little Jeep together, and I had a phenomenal tour guide who gave us the full history of the Dominican Republic and talked to us about how close it was to Haiti. I'm actually going to insert some of that footage here in a moment and let you guys see a little bit of that if you don't remember. So once we arrived at the actual Monkeyland location, they let us in, and the first thing that we did was we did the history portion, and so we were able to tour an authentic Dominican house. They showed us how coffee is actually made outside. They had like the coffee bean, I guess they're not trees, but whatever the hell coffee beans grow on, it was there. And so we were able to see that. And they made everything in like the authentic kitchen and showed us the process. Some of the other really cool ones that I've seen like that is like the cigar rolling and making, and so that's one I'm definitely interested in doing. But after we got done with that portion, it was combined with Monkeyland, and we were able to go in and have the monkey encounter where the little monkeys like ran and jumped on our heads, and we got to hold them and feed them, and they told us exactly like what to do, and it was the best time ever. And it was like definitely one of the most memorable things I've done on a vacation period. But definitely one of my favorite cruise moments was petting the little monkeys, because they were so tiny and they just would like sit on your head, sit on your shoulder, and all of that. So it was so cool. And so I wanted to make sure I included a little bit of that footage here so that you guys can see. So here's a little bit of my Monkeyland experience and what it was like having a tour guide.
Yeah. That's coffee. That's how coffee grows. The local house to see. So we're gonna see how the local people live. How is the house and the structure where they actually live, their homes. So we are going to sample some things today. So things that we're gonna be sampling is coffee. They're gonna be making coffee right there, so you can actually see how they make the coffee in Dominican Republic on the most primitive way that could be.
Okay, and so getting into the questions, one of the questions I'm asked is, what is the best type of excursion to do? And honestly, I'm going to say that depends on you and your personality. For me, I am an animal person, and so if there is an animal involved, I definitely am choosing to do that. The 3 encounters I've done has been the Dolphin Encounter, and so they call it like swimming with the dolphins, but y'all know I can't swim. So I was standing with the dolphin and took a picture with them, did tricks, and was able to feed them. And that excursion actually took place near Atlantis in the Bahamas. And they allowed you to feed the dolphin, and then after you got done taking your photo and doing all of that in the water, you were given access to lunch and unlimited drinks, which were extremely watered down. So the drinks weren't even worth doing it. But other than that, you know, it was a really, really good excursion, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. In Aruba, I did Flamingo Beach, which was not led by the cruise line, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. And then I did the Monkeyland, which I just talked to you guys about. So I prefer to do experiences when I'm off the ship. If I'm going to pay for an excursion, I want it to be something that's memorable and that, you know, I can get a great photo, and something that is once in a while or once in a lifetime, really, for me to experience. But that's just my opinion. All right, so the next question I was asked is, what is the typical price for excursions? And typically they run somewhere between the $80 to $120 per person mark. They can be more and they can be less depending on what you choose to do. But those are the typical prices I see when looking directly through the cruise lines. Okay, so the next question I was asked is, what is my process for choosing what excursion I'm actually going to do? And I say for this, you should look at 3 things. Number 1, what location / ports are you going to, and what do you want to do? So since I told you guys they typically run between $80 to like $120 or more dollars, you know, you may not get to, if you're going to 3 different ports, you know, you may not want to spend $300 to do 3 different things at every port. So it's best to like kind of look at your itinerary and your cruise as a whole, and then decide from there, what do you really want to do and what's important to you. Next thing I would say is look at reviews. Absolutely, this is a biggie. I am very big on checking Yelp reviews for certain excursions, as well as the reviews that are directly on the cruise line's site. So they, if you look at Carnival as well as Royal Caribbean, once you go in to actually book and look at the excursions that are being offered, you can see where people have rated them and given them, you know, stars. They will spell out exactly what happened, why they didn't like a certain excursion, or why they would have preferred to do something else. So you can read and kind of learn like who the best tour guides are and things that you should steer away from. So I definitely recommend looking at that and taking that into account when you're choosing the best one for you. Okay, so another question I was asked is, do you have to get an excursion? And the answer is no. So for each port you're going to, it's best to kind of learn the lay of the land and what people typically do there. You know, I tell you guys to definitely watch other people's YouTubes just to see what they do when they visit certain ports. I am not a big fan of walking around and exploring different ports by myself unless I'm very familiar with them. I know Amber Cove, for example, has their own like kind of pool area where you can go once you dock, that's free. And then there's a restaurant attached to it, and so like that area I would be fine going to, but something where you're like walking in the middle of the city by yourself, I wouldn't recommend doing it alone. So I definitely would suggest, if you want to like get a good feel for the cities and see them, I would go ahead and book an excursion. Next question is, when should you book your excursion? And you absolutely should book before you get on the ship for the best price, because once you're on the ship, they know that you're going to be eager to get in, and so it costs a little bit more money traditionally. So I would definitely review and book before getting on the ship and before your cruise actually starts. Okay, so the last question was, what are some options if you don't want to do the cruise-led excursions? So say you get on the website and just none of those excursions look great to you, or you've heard of somewhere else that you wanted to visit and you're wondering how to go. I have two options for you. The first one is called Resortpass, and Resortpass is a app that lets you book out like a day at a certain hotel or resort, and you can typically visit their pool. I haven't seen anywhere food is included or anything, but I know that you can rent cabanas and do things like that. So you can go to, any resort somewhere for a day. You would pay within the app. It's usually in the $80 range to go to most of the resorts I've seen there. I have never tried this with a cruise or internationally, but I have tried it in New Orleans. So the pool that I visited, where you guys saw this picture, this was actually taken at a hotel that I booked through that app, and the process was super simple. And I just walked into the front desk and told them, hey, I booked on Resortpass. This is my confirmation. They were able to give me a towel, give me the key card to get to the pool, and the instructions for getting there, and I was given access. And so I do know Resortpass has a lot of locations and places where cruises stop, so you definitely can check there. Option 2, there is an app called Resort for a Day that is specifically for cruise lines, and with it you're able to type in your cruise itinerary, and so the cruise line you're on, the date you're going to be there, and it will line up each day of your actual trip and give you all of the excursions that are offered through that app there, and you can book out your day. And so one of them that I really am interested in doing, and you guys will probably see me try this for the first time in Nassau, is Margaritaville. And so they have a water park where you can go, and they have a lazy river that kind of flows, and you like sit in the little floaty and all that, and I think that's so cool, and that is something that I have been wanting to do. And now that I have been to Nassau like 100 times at this point, no, it's really been like 3, but I've been literally on every cruise I've been on, I've been to Nassau. And so I know I'm familiar with the port now, and I'm familiar with where Margaritaville is. And so with that day pass, I will get to, explore that resort for a day. And use it through that app. And so those are two options that you can use if you want to explore outside of what the cruise lines offer. Thank you so much for sticking to the end and watching this video. I hope you feel more comfortable booking your excursions. Be sure to smack that like button and let me know in the descriptions what excursions you're interested in doing. We will be back on Sunday for another video, but wait. Make sure you check the description for my cruise essentials list. So I have compiled a list for you guys of everything you'll need on your next cruise. So get that. It's free down there, free download. You get it instantly. And that is going to be it for this video. I will see you guys Sunday. Peace.